everybody. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a super easy recipe to make one of my favorite desserts, creme brulee. I just recently discovered how easy this was. I was always a little bit hesitant to try it at home, but I tried it out and it came out great and it was really easy. So here are my ingredients. We have 6 eggs and a half a cup of sugar, and I have vanilla extract. We're gonna need 1.5 teaspoons of that. On the stove, I have 2 cups of heavy whipping cream waiting to go, and that's it. That's as easy as this is. Very few ingredients. So the first and most important thing is that your eggs need to be at room temperature. So these eggs have been sitting out on my counter for about an hour. They're a little chilly still, but I would say that they're good enough. And we're gonna separate the eggs. We only need the yolks. So I'm going to put the yolks into the bowl that I'm gonna use to mix it up with the sugar, and I'm gonna separate the whites and save the whites in here for an egg white omelet or something that I'll use later in the week. So just crack each egg, and if you've never separated eggs before, make sure that you take the top and bottom shell off equally. Let the white drip out. Keep kind of tossing it back and forth until you only have the yolk. You don't want any whites in this because the white of the egg is like the fluffy part. You know, when you have an omelet and it's fluffy and kind of has is aerated, that's all the whites, and that's not what you want for a custard. And creme brulee really is a custard. You just want the really smooth, oily texture of the yolk. So I'm going to keep doing this, separating each one until we only have the yellow. I'd rather yellow get into the white than white get into the yellow. This is okay if there's a little bit of yolk in it, but it's not okay if there's white in the yolk. So this takes a little while. I'm going to keep doing this, and then we're going to add the sugar, and we'll whip that together with the vanilla extract, and we'll be right back. So I've got all of my egg yolks only in this bowl, and like I said, I have a half a cup of just pure white granulated sugar. I'm gonna add right in there, and I'm gonna stir this together, and I'm also going to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. If you can get vanilla beans at your grocery store, then you can substitute vanilla beans for this, but I always have vanilla extract on hand, so this is just easier. So 1.5. Oop, that's a little more than a half. There we go. And you're just gonna whisk this all together until it gets really creamy. It takes a little while and some elbow grease, but you want the sugar to start to dissolve into the eggs. You want this to start to look really creamy. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm also going to head over to the stove, and I said I have 2 cups of heavy whipping cream in this pot. I'm gonna turn it on medium-high heat, and I want this to just start to come to a boil. So when the edges of the pot start to show some bubbles and it looks like it's about to boil, I'm gonna take it off the heat and kill that. So while that's happening, I'm just gonna keep whisking this together, and then once my heavy whipping cream is nearly at a boil, we're going to add these 2 things together, and then we're halfway done. That's how easy this is. So as soon as that's heated and I'm ready to add it, I'll come right back and show you how I do that. So once you start seeing some smoke coming out of the pot with the heavy whipping cream, you know that it's gonna start to boil pretty quickly. So don't step away from it. Like I said, once you see the bubbles coming up around the side before it comes to a full boil, that's when you want to kill the heat and take it off. So I would say this is just about there. Yep, there's some bubbles forming at the edge. So that's when I am going to turn this off and take it off the heat. And I also have my oven preheating. You want to heat it to 300 degrees. And also you can have your ramekins ready at this time, I have six 6-ounce ramekins, and you want it in a pan that's deep enough because we're going to also fill that with a little bit of water. So there we go. This had just come to a boil. It's off of the heat. I'm going to let it cool slightly, and then we're going to start to gradually mix it into our egg mixture. So I put the 2 cups of heated heavy whipping cream into this measuring cup just so that it would pour more easily. Here's my sugar and egg and vanilla extract mixture. You can see it's really creamy and smooth and silky. So just make sure that that's all well incorporated. And then this is very important. Temperature is a really important thing when you're dealing with custard. So bringing the eggs to room temperature is the first really important piece. This part is very important also. You want to temper these eggs. So we're going to pour this heavy whipping cream very slowly into this mixture, because if you dump it all in at once, you're going to end up with scrambled eggs, and you don't want that. You don't want the eggs to cook yet. So it's a very, very slow process, and you're whisking the entire time. So just a little bit at a time, whisking the entire time, just to get the eggs so that they're warming very, very slightly, very, very slowly. Make sure you mix it all in, add a little bit more, and this is how you're going to do it for the entire 2 cups. It takes a long time. You have to have patience. This is where a lot of people will go wrong with a custard, because if you add this in, like I said, too much, you're going to scramble your eggs. So be patient and just do a little tiny bit at a time and keep whisking it just like that. I won't make you sit through this entire thing because, like I said, it takes a while. So I'll come back as soon as I have finished adding all of the heavy whipping cream to the egg mixture. Okay, so we have our ramekins placed in this deep pan. I've mixed together my heavy whipping cream and egg mixture. This is warm. We're just going to pour it into each of the ramekins really carefully until it's about halfway. This makes about 6 6-ounce ramekins full. If you have 8-ounce ramekins, you'll probably get about 4. And I'm just gonna fill these guys up. All right, let's see, who needs more? You need more. You need more. This guy needs a little more. Top you off and top this guy off. All right, there we go. Now, my sink water comes out extremely hot. So I'm just using my sink water because it does get so hot to fill that pan. If your sink water doesn't get hot, mine gets hot to the point where it burns, then you can just boil some water in a microwave and then use that. So this we're just going to pour into the pan until it's about halfway up the sides of the ramekins. Really carefully so it doesn't get into any of the ramekins. That would be bad. It ends up being, for this size pan, about 4 to 5 cups of hot water. I'm gonna get a little bit more. And then we're gonna stick these guys into the oven, again, 300 degrees, I have it heated to, and we're gonna cook this for about 35 to 40 minutes, and it should become a solid custard. When we take it out, then we have to refrigerate it for at least 6 hours before you serve it. So this is the type of thing that you can make the day before for sure, and then just keep it in the refrigerator overnight. But if you are planning on serving it that night, make sure you start early in the morning because it needs that 6 hours in the fridge after it bakes. So I'm gonna get these guys into my heated oven. Again, 300 degrees. Be very careful. Got a lot going on in this pan. There we go. And I'm gonna set a timer for 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and then we'll check on them and I'll show you what we've got. Okay, I am going to check the custard. You can kind of tell when you pull it out whether or not it has set, because you'll see it jiggle if it hasn't set. If it has set, then it should be firm, and when you put the spoon in, the back of the spoon should come out just like that. And don't worry about that because we are going to cover that with sugar and we are going to glaze the top of that anyway. So these are about perfect. I'm gonna take them out, let them cool, put them in the fridge for 6 hours, and then we are going to get ready to sugar and glaze the top and serve it up. As soon as you get them out of the oven, you want to very carefully remove each ramekin from the water. Set it out to cool a little bit before you put it in the refrigerator. And then, like I said, refrigerate for 6 hours before sugaring the top.
Really light.
Yep, so we're sprinkling a little sugar on top of each one. And then we got this great kitchen torch off of Amazon, and it's pretty cool. All right, go ahead, Jack, you want to do yours? Like far away, don't do it too close, right? And just until it turns brown and starts to melt a little bit. Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's put that one aside. And Anthony, you do one of yours. Good. And then is it, hit it with your, that looks yummy. Is it good? Mm-hmm.